So, thank you very much, and once again, welcome to Ken Ben's Media TV. Uh, since we started this channel, the Ken Ben's Media TV, we have seen the growth that it's a tremendous growth that we have been able to go on from where we started to where we are. And we take this chance to give thanks to God first for the growth that we have seen. Today we are 1,800 subscribers. We started with very few subscribers, and this is where we are. Thank you for believing in us as King Means Media TV. We say that this is where we tell African stories the African way, and every video that we make, we ensure that we tell it to our main aim of telling African stories the African way. The reason why we always tell the African stories the African way is because we believe that Africa is a good continent, and if we can invest in Africa and we are able to exploit the whole potential of Africa, then we can make this continent be the best continent in the world. Thank you very much for all those who work outside Africa and then they start thinking or they come back into Africa and invest in Africa. We have seen so many videos that have been done by bloggers who tell stories about people who have gone out of this continent. They went and then they were able to get enough money from another continent and come back to invest in Africa. And this is our appeal to everyone who is outside of Africa that regardless of where you live in the United States of America, the United Kingdom, Australia, everywhere that you live outside Africa, if you get enough money to invest, try and come back to invest in Africa, because we believe in Africa. We believe that Africa is also a good continent that can also be able to compare and compete with all the other continents in the world. And that's why Kenyan's Media TV, we are so much dedicated to ensure that we bring to you stories on Africa and to let you know that if we believe in ourselves first, then we have the opportunity to make this continent a better place. But it does not necessarily mean that you don't have to go and visit other continents. If you get a chance to go to the United States of America, if you get a chance to go to Australia, if you get a chance to go to Canada, if you get a chance to go outside of Africa, it's also good to go and see how they do things, because there's so much that we can learn from all over the world, and then we can bring the expertise back to Africa. We can also be able to invest in Africa. So today I want to talk to you about something that is so common to people, especially in Africa, and that is land ownership. Land ownership is something that most of the people in the world yearn to have, but everyone who is a dreamer, a great dreamer in the world, dreams of having a land somewhere that they can call home. And we always say that the smallest unit of the world is a family, and a family must have somewhere they live. And the whole notion of people having somewhere to live and the children having somewhere that they are being raised from and they can call home becomes a very integral part in the growth that they are going to have in life. And so it is good for us to talk about the land ownership and how you can own a land and what are the benefits of owning a land. We're talking about these things when we know that there are so many people out there who do not have anywhere to live. They may have a house that they have built somewhere, but maybe in a village. And when I'm talking about village, I'm talking about the cluster village where people don't own land. They only own very small pieces of land to build a house. And in most cases, it's not a permanent house. In most cases, they are temporary house because they are not sure whether they still be owners of the same land 2, 3, 20, or even 50 years down the line. And so, when I'm talking about the land ownership, it is good for us to understand that it is good for everyone in the world to have somewhere that they can call home. Either it is their ancestral land, or it is a land that you have bought for yourself, or it it's a community land, or it's a land that was given to you by maybe your father or even your uncle or someone who was close to you, it becomes very important to have a piece of land somewhere. So this program is sponsored by Suluhu Limited. Suluhu Limited is a company that sells land in Africa, specifically in Kenya. They have their offices located at Click Towers, that is in Iloilo town, and they have big projects that they are selling at this particular time. They have a very big project that they are selling at Iloilo town. This is about 5 kilometers from Iloilo town and around 20 kilometers from Nanyuki town. And they are calling this project the Mount Kenya View Garden. And this is the company that is sponsoring this this live shoot for you and even for us, and that is why they're inviting you to come and visit them in their offices and come and see the project that they are saying. So let's look specifically why you need a piece of land. Number one, a piece of land has been said or has been named as a resource that is not renewable. That is basically it's a factor of production. That if anyone wants to produce anything, if you want to maybe produce crops, you want to plant your onions, you want to plant your cabbages, you want to plant your forest, you want even to build a house, you need a land for you to be able to do all these things. So it is a factor of production. And that is one reason why you need a piece of land, because as a factor of production, it tells you that there is no way that you can produce anything else without this piece of land. Until today, we have not seen any house that has been built on air. Maybe as the technology progresses and we get into other technologies, maybe at the time will come and houses will be built on the air or even under the water or even on the water. That is, if we get to such a point, then Kenya will be a very big beneficiary because we have so many water bodies. But until then, the land becomes a very important place for anyone who wants to build a house, whether it is commercial or private land or a private house for them to live in, or just a family house to live in. So you need a land because a land is a factor of production. That there is nothing that you can produce without having a piece of land. And that is why Suluhu Agreement comes in to tell you that if you do not have a plot that you want, that you can build on, or that you want maybe to start your agricultural activities, then they come in handy and they give you a solution to provide to you with a piece of land that you are going to build anything or even to cultivate anything that you have. We'll be talking about their project in Almoro, another project that they have in Matu, that is in Kamani, and then it is also good to understand that if by any chance you are going to make any production, then you need land. And that is one good reason why you need a piece of land. That land is a piece, or it's a factor of production, and there is no way that you can do without a piece of land. This is why Mark Twain said that buy a plot or buy a land, because they are not making it anymore. So land is becoming less and less in Africa. The scramble of land is very real. That in most families today, the land that they got from their ancestors, today they cannot even be able to share even a quarter of land, a quarter that measures around 100 by 100 yards. They cannot be able to measure to the children that were born from the lineage of those ancestors. And it tells you that our land is becoming smaller and smaller in Africa. And so when you get a chance to go and buy another land away from the ancestral home, then it becomes a unique chance that you should not let it go. And so land as a factor of production becomes very essential for us to be able to invest in it. Number two, land. Why you need to have a piece of land? It is because the best investment that you can make is an investment in land. I know this is a question, or this is a statement that has been subjected to so many debates, but eventually most of people will always agree, or will always come into a conclusion that having a good or a piece of land could be the best investment anyone can be able to do in his life. And I want to give you some example. I want to take someone who is using, I want to take two people who have the same amount of money. Let's say 500,000 Kenya shillings, which is around 50, which is around 50 dollars, $500. No, that is $5,000. Two people who have the same amount of money, that is 500,000 Kenyan shillings, and the one goes into a point of investing that 500 Kenyan shillings into land, someone else thinks of another business. And I want us to look that to understand that the two examples I'm giving, all the other factors remain constant. That these people, they have other sources of their daily life, their daily bread. Because at times you understand that if you wish to invest in land and you don't have another source of your daily life or your daily bread, somehow it can be a bit difficult. Okay? So my assumption, or our assumption at this particular time for our examples, is that the two people that we want to compare, both of them, they have other places, or they have other means that they can get their daily bread. And when I'm talking about daily bread, I'm talking about maybe if they are paying rent, they can be able to pay rent comfortably. If they have children in school, they can be able to educate those children comfortably without necessarily touching the 500,000 that we're talking about. This is something that we'll talk about later. Because sometimes it's also good to realize that, for instance, someone who is retiring, and for the whole of his career or her career, she was not able to invest in something else. And at a time when she is retiring, she has nothing except for the pension that she is going, or she is going to get from the retirement. So if that person wants to invest, the best place it is not to invest in land, the best place is to invest something that will be giving this person his or her daily bread each and every single day. Are we together? Up to there. But I'm talking to people, about two people who they already have other sources of their daily bread, and they still have 500,000. One of them invests in land, and then the other one thinks of another business. Maybe let's talk of a business that deals with the customer each and every single day. The chances of this guy who has bought this land to grow and to have a better return in the future, it's so high as compared to someone who has decided to now invest his money into something that he is going to sell each and every single day. And this is the difference. Sorry for the noise, for the background noise. But I still believe that we can continue because we need to learn about this investment. So this guy was decided, now I'm going to start a business with my 500,000. He uses that money as his capital or her capital. And the return of this money will depend on the planning he or she is going to make, especially on the management of that capital. What I mean is this, that he can go into the market, buy whatever that he wants to buy so that he can bring it to the store, start selling, but there is no guarantee that everything that he has bought or she has bought is going to bring returns, and especially bring returns within a very short time. Are we together? There's also a very big possibility that when he engages into other business, he's also going to employ other people to be part and parcel of the business that he is doing. And so the chances of these people who have been brought into the job or into the company or even into the business, the chances of them misusing the capital That is the 500,000 capital, and then enriching themselves instead of enriching the person who is the entrepreneur is also high. But the person who went and bought a piece of land does not need anyone to go and look for them, to go and work in that piece of land as an investment. Okay, so you understand that after 3 years down the line, the guy who bought the land can be able to sell that land at a very high cost. Maybe he can be able to sell it at 1 billion after 3 years, and we have seen it grow. And the guy who decided to go into business, maybe the business after 3 years is still struggling, because as we all know that starting a business and maintaining a business is not so easy. And so it becomes so hard for this guy who invested his money into something else to grow so quickly as we would compare with this guy who already bought a piece of land. Are we together? And so after 3 years, this guy can come and sell the plot at 1 million, making of 500,000 Kenyan shillings. And then the guy who invested 500 Kenyan shillings into business is still struggling in management of the employees, management of profits, and all that. So as long as maybe you still have somewhere else that you can be able to get your daily life and daily bread, the best investment that you can do is the investment of a piece of land. Go get that piece of land, go get the title deed of that piece of land. And then I'm telling you for sure, because I've seen it as a consultant in land, especially in Kenya, I have seen it that you have better chances of growth when you invest in land rather than in other business. So those are two reasons as to why you need to invest in land and why you need to have a piece of land, especially in Kenya. And Suluhu Limited, they are here, they are telling you, come, let us make some plans on how you are going to own a piece of land. You don't necessarily have to come with all the money that we are asking from you. You can come, make a deposit of some money, and then from there, we can plan on how each and every single day you are going to make payment, so that after 6 good months, you can become an owner of a plot here in Kenya. How do you think about that? What's your perspective about land ownership? And what are the stories that you have about land, especially in Kenya? Come and visit Suluhu Limited. They are at Click Towers, Loyo. Their phone number is 0724 582 582. 0724 582 582. Come and invest with Suluhu and come invest in land and be an owner of a part of the African continent that we are talking about. This is Kenya's Media. This is Kenya's Media, where we tell African stories, the African way. Thank you.